Hello there, this is the video backstory as to how I got a GT4. Thank you so much for all your kind of positive comments on the video that I did. I know it was a super short video, but I'd just taken the car, hadn't been sleeping for a bit. As you could probably tell, someone did say, you don't look very excited. That's because I was pretty tired. You try sleeping the day before you pick up a new GT4. So what I'd like to do in this video, I'm not in the car, I'm not driving about. I really want to basically sort of focus and concentrate on kind of the message and the backstory as to how I got the car. I'll obviously bring you my first impressions of the car in other material. In this kind of video, it may go off on a tangent. I'm just going to obviously do this as a one take. I'm basically going to explain how it all happened. It wasn't too long ago I'd made my mind up to keep my Cayman, and a lot of you were like, what was going on? So yeah, I didn't quite even understand a lot about myself, to be honest. So let's kind of roll it back a bit. I wasn't in the market to buy a GT4. I had made my peace. I had the order for a 718 GTS, and that's quite a good point to start, actually. So let's start with that order. I'm quite an emotional person, if you haven't gathered. I'm not very rational. Don't listen to me if you want to make lots of money. But if you want to enjoy life in cars to the max, stick around. So I think for me, when the 718 GTS, or just the 718 model range was launched, there wasn't a colour that quite did it for me. So basically, I guess on the 981s, there was sapphire blue, I've got aqua blue, cobalt blue. I'm quite like those kind of like, quite blues. Gentian blue, sort of a bit too dark for me. It's great in sunlight. I guess, in the UK, it's kind of like cloudy for quite 6 months of the year. Those colours didn't quite sort of like do it for me, and I'm very kind of like colour driven. So, I was like, fine, I'm happy with my 987, didn't really want for anything else, didn't really want the 981, it doesn't really offer me, in my mind, that much more than my Cayman. So then Shark Blue came along. Wow, I love that colour. Roger Bailey, love your car. So that's the first time I saw Shark Blue, loved the paint, and it was a colour driven choice that I said, right, I want to get a new Cayman. And you can't get a new GT4 if you don't have an allocation. It's just not going to happen. So there was no point me thinking about a 718 GT4. So then I'm like, okay, what can I get? I can get a GTS. Shark Blue, GTS, deposit done, bang, done. Didn't sleep for a while, worried about the finances. As you know, the 987 is paid up. Anything else would be financed. So I had trouble kind of like sleeping with the whole 718 GTS. Then the Lotus Emira came out. And one thing that was working for me in my favour was that ideally I'd like to buy a car in about 2 or 3 years when I've got a bit of money behind me. A lot of people have sort of said the same things to me. Oh, it would just be great if I could buy the car in a year or 2 years when I've saved a bit more. I think we can always say that. So, I do understand what if you're in that situation, I do get that. The Lotus Emira kind of gave me the choice to defer my purchase. And yeah, I was thinking, yeah, great Lotus, great handling car, all that kind of stuff. And then obviously I ended up with the Cayman. So how did that all happen? So the Lotus Emira came along. It made me kind of go, wow, that's great. It made me doubt the whole 718 GTS. And you know what? I truly had made my peace. So that little clip that I showed you when I was in the hotel in Wales with the guys, I had made my peace. The 987 was for me. I was not willing to spend the money to get into anything else. Love that car. And, I did say that I'm quite an emotional person. I'm very colour driven. COVID, the chip shortage, in the UK for sure. If you look on the used market, there are a ton of 981 GT4s for sale. Probably the most 981 GT4s I have ever seen. Some at pretty high prices, private sales, dealer sales, and you've even got ones at OPC. There's one for, I think, £69,000 at the moment in Porsche Sid Cups. That's a high in mileage GT4 selling a bit, below the kind of the average price that's being looked for. And last I checked, there's one about £84,000. So, there's loads of cars on the market. Happy to look at them. Didn't do anything for me. Not a big deal. And I'm not actively checking the used car market anyway. It's something that I do every couple of weeks, usually on a Friday morning. So, having my coffee, checking the classifieds. In fact, I was just checking, all the different types of Auto Trader and everything. And it hit me. Voodoo Blue. I saw that. Wow. Knocked me over. The truth is, I wasn't looking for a GT4. The colour got me. At a very deep level. I would have bought the car even if it had comfort seats. I wasn't too bothered on the spec. Basically phoned up, secured a viewing, went to see the car, put a deposit, and the rest is history. So I wasn't kind of acting corpus mentis, as they would say. It was my subliminal capacity in effect, where it was my emotion that was driving me. Subsequent to this, I've had a few sort of chats with people. Eddie, you know, I know you think he's the guy with the red GT4. He kind of thinks I've always been GT4 crazy. I haven't always been GT4 crazy. You know, as a child, I didn't have Porsche posters in my room. I had Ferraris and Lamborghinis. So I can't say that it's a dream car per se. Believe me, I love this car, but I'm giving you the backstory here. So I'm not saying I don't love the car, mate. I'm so over the moon with the car, but I wasn't lusting for it. I wasn't dreaming about it. I wasn't checking the classified listings every 5 minutes every day. In fact, I was just happened to check. I checked like every couple of weeks, as I said. Subsequently, I found out the listing went up late one weekday in the evening. I happened to see it the following morning early, so probably one of the first few people to see it. And, you know, soon thereafter, the car was secured for me anyway. It's the colour that did it. I'm telling you, I'm keeping this car forever. I love the colour. I guess it's something that after seeing, you know, Steve's Mexico Blue 981 base, PTS is a lovely thing. On the configurator, so when I was speccing my 718 GTS, I don't have the guts to spend the money on a new spec, and you just see the price going up and up and up. I would never spec PTS myself, you know, don't have the money for that. However, I saw it used, and I guess, you know, I think what hit me was like, when am I ever going to see, so this is more of a subconscious thing, but, you know, maybe after the event, I was thinking, when am I going to see a Voodoo Blue car for sale, full stop, Cayman GT4, 981, and to be fair, I do have a preference for the 981 GT4 as an overall package. I love the looks of the 718 GT4 from the front. In fact, I love everything about the looks of the 718 GT4. It's my best GT4 looks on the outside, apart from the exhaust at the rear. I do prefer the twin exhausts to be centered, but you know, that aside, 981 GT4 in my hands in Voodoo Blue. Oh my God, I love that. So I don't know if the backstory is essentially I wasn't in the market and I just jumped at the chance to secure such a car. And I think if I hadn't done that, other people would have. There was a premium for the price. So the car's got about 21,000 miles. That's considered relatively high. I'm going to be putting as many miles as I can on that car. So I think if I remember the numbers correctly, PTS meant that my car was selling for about 4 grand more than other cars because it was PTS. And I think roughly speaking, if I put 10,000 miles on the car, the value will drop by 4 or 5,000 pounds. I have no intention of selling the car. It's going to be mine forever. This is my forever Cayman. It's going to be my Cayman. Like it, I could. What other type of Cayman could I wish for? I just love the car. It is financed, and I guess I've come to peace with that whole type of thing around finance. And I guess the way that I look at it is that if you buy a standard family car, the residual value will approach zero, you know, over a long period of time. With a Porsche, with a special car like my GT4, with, you know, any Cayman to be fair, there is like a floor at which they won't go much lower below. So in my head, I'm thinking about this, that I can put whatever miles I want onto the car. I can do whatever I need over the next like 5 to 10 years. And I guess over a 4 to 5 year horizon, the lowest it can ever go, and it won't go this low, say £50,000. So I've kind of rationalised it on the sense that you can sit on the fences, you can deliberate, and you know, I did a lot of deliberating over the 718 GTS and all that kind of stuff. I guess it just wasn't the right car for me. This car, oh my God, Voodoo Blue. I've never seen Voodoo Blue. I don't know how many Voodoo Blue cars there are in the UK. Phenomenal spec, love the car. I hope that gives you some insight as to how I got this amazing car. I truly, genuinely was not on the lookout for it. I happened to see it at the right time. I guess I knew that if I didn't act there and then, somebody else would. And once the deposit was placed, I then just had to secure finance. And I'm comfortable with the whole financing thing now because You only live once. Hopefully my children haven't got this far into the video. You know, some people could say, yes, I'm spending my kids' inheritance, but you know, I worked for my money. I grew up in a grocery store, worked pretty hard in that sense, working in an office now. I want my kids to work hard. And if anything, I told them, look, you work hard, you can get stuff like this. And you know, I'm not going to give either of my kids an easy ride. Obviously, I'm going to support them. This is a car channel, so let's get back onto the car stuff. But yeah, enjoying life and cars to the max. I hope that gives you some understanding. I didn't want to be bringing this, so you know, this is the backdrop you've got at the moment. It helps me kind of give you my thoughts without, you know, checking mirrors and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, enjoying life, and it really happened. I guess the lesson here for me and maybe for you guys is that you can consciously think about something. You want this, you don't want that. These are all the things that could get in the way, and these are the things that could go wrong. In my case, it was a very, very subliminal decision, and one that I'm glad that I've made. Enjoying life in cars to the max. See ya.